Okay. Good afternoon once more. So assignment 4, we know that it's a build-up for assignment 6. It's the same thing, the same question, the same structure, same formats are going to be used. Of course, looking at the corrections that were made for you, looking at the comments that were made for you by the markers. So as I'm doing this class again because as we went on, there were many loopholes. And for assignment 6, I would really love for people to get at least above 50. Most of the assignments that we got, students got less than 50, over 70. So I would just like us to listen, take notes, ask for clarity where you do not understand so that for assignment 6, we know that we have a good mark. Also, I think you've noticed assignment 6, we give you extra days for submission because we had a few glitches with the system. We were unable to send or release marks as we should have because the system was down and we couldn't synchronize the marks when marking online. So we had to mark offline, which takes a lot of time. I'm going to share my screen. Please do remember that I said we're going to concentrate on problematic areas that I need everybody to really, really focus on, right? By show of hand, can somebody just show me if my screen sharing and you can see it on your side? Thank you so much, Erasmus. Okay, so first and foremost, the problem that we had was table of contents. For table of contents, this is what we expect from students. This is how your table of contents should be. What happened is that you will find that most of you guys, the table of contents that you had was maybe you received a 0 for it, or you received a comment to say that please use the correct format or refer to tutorial letter 301, which is found under your additional resources. It was posted when the year started, or the semester rather. So most of you do not number your headings. So when we speak about headings, these are headings. Introduction 1 is your heading. Question 1 is that is your heading, right? So you do not number them. These numbers are very important. You need to number your table of contents. Table of contents, once you have numbered it, then we move on. You need to write your subheadings in the format that is allowed by the university. Most of you did not use capital letters or even bold for that matter. You just went on and used lower cases, which is a wrong format to use. So the headings, and also the headings doesn't really matter if you only wrote number 1 and then you say introduction, or you say number 2 question 1, or you just say SA, or you say number 2 and then you write the theme of your question 1 because it was an essay. It didn't have a theme, meaning that you need to come up with your own theme, right? Question 3, you can go on and say memorandum for Tshwane municipality in capital letters and bold. Question 4, number 4 as well. For question 3, it was a business letter. The business letter, it was an application for an accounting job, right? So question 3, you can just say number 4, and then you say application for accounting post in capital letters. So you really, really need to follow this structure because it will give you a lot of marks. Remember that your technical presentation, table of contents forms part of your technical presentation, which is out of 10. So if you do the technical presentation, you follow the rules as set, it means that out of 70, you have 10 already. And then you just need to work on the 60 that is left, which is now going to be the content of your assignment, right? So here we have 2 different types of table of contents. But if you look at it, here's one thing that always has to be there, one thing that is common. Table of contents, as you can see, it's written in capital letters and it is also bold. Numbering, the numbering is there. The headings, both of the table of contents that I've provided, the headings are in uppercase and they are bold, right? So the page numbers as well will need to go a bit here. Let me just do this. Let's say it's page 1. Well, sorry about that. Page 1, and then you have your SA, which is going to be page 2. Page 2. Also, when you do this, please make sure that your table of contents does not look like this. It does not look like this. It does not look like this. But always make sure that it is aligned. The numbers are aligned. The first letter of the heading is also aligned, right? That is how your table of contents should look. So I am going to open to the floor. Anybody who would like to ask anything related to table of contents, you're more than welcome to do that. Maybe you can show by raising your hand, and then I'll just unmute you. Stembisa, please unmute yourself.
Good afternoon, everyone. Ms. Carol, can you just repeat what you just said about table of contents?
Which part?
The one you just said, like right now.
About the alignment.
Yes.
Okay, I'll just do that. Mohabi, you can come through. Mohabi, you can unmute yourself. I think your hand was up for a minute.
Sorry, good afternoon. I had to put in my headset. I'm having a challenge now with numbering the pages, but I'll get someone to help me. Because when I use the foot and the head, the footer and the head, it's giving one number, and I'm struggling to change that. Because when I previously submitted, I didn't have page numbers. So now when I use it, it's making my cover page a number 1 page, and now the page numbers are not going according to my table of contents. Like, how do I fix that now? Because before I knew about the extension, I actually hand wrote it on the typed copy because I didn't want to lose marks. But now I've got time to change it, but I'm struggling with it.
Okay, no problem. Is there anybody else who would like to ask a question before I just go? Yes, Erasmus. You can unmute yourself.
Hi guys, hi ma'am. I received my results back just like today, but I understand the circumstances and everything. The lecturer Abdul Sattar did communicate with us. I have to give my condolences there.
Thank you.
With regards to, and I quickly reviewed my table of contents and things like that, but the self-assessment and self-reflection questions, it states that it should not be numbered and it should be indented. I see on the example that you've given is that there's a space between conclusion and self-assessment. Should there be a space, or can you just put it directly under conclusion without numbering it?
Okay, thank you so much for your question. I'm going to answer all of them. Tembi, so your hand is up again. I don't know if it's a historical hand. Yes, Tembiso, you can unmute yourself.
Can you please specify on what should be done on the essay too?
Tembiso, can we please just allow that we deal with each section at a time so that we can finish on time, right?
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, first question, it was Tembiso. Tembiso, what I was saying is that please make sure after you've written your table of contents, you need to make sure that your table of contents is aligned correctly, right? When we speak about aligning, let me just try and make an example of this one. Most of the students will type in this format. This is a piece that is not aligned, right? If you can see from the D, if you go down, it is not in alignment. Alignment means that it's not in a straight line, right? When it goes down, right? So all that you need to do to align your work is to highlight all of that. Even your table of contents, you can highlight it. Let me just highlight it. Is to highlight it, and then you scroll up. Here it says align to the left. If you align to the left, it's going to look like this. We don't want it to be aligned to the left, right? And then when you go here, you justify, right? And then you press here, you can see the difference that now this is nicely aligned, right? This is what we basically want. And then second question was from, it was from Mohabe, if I'm not mistaken. Second question was from Mohabe. It was about, I just need to remember. Mohabe, please come in again and then just state your question quickly. Oh, no, it's fine. Your question
Page
was
numbers.
about numbering page numbers, right? Yes. So with page numbers, it will do that, yes. If you do it automatically or you do it with the header, remember a header is constant. If you use a header function, then it means that each and every heading will have the same heading. Most of the time we use a header, let's say for a document, let's say for a research document, and then you're dealing with literature review. And then you can make literature review heading as your header. It will appear on all the pages. So what you need to do is that write your table of contents and then say page 1. Do not don't number your pages. It's fine. And then immediately after your table of contents, it means that now this is page 1, immediately after that. So your page 1, it's going to be the introduction. We will be able to read it to say, okay, after table of contents, page 1, that is your introduction. And then Erasmus, your question. Remember, guys, for a neat work, conclusion, table of contents is on a separate page, on a new page. Your introduction, write your introduction on a new page. You write your sources consulted on a new page, separate page. You write your conclusion on a separate page. You write your self-assessment or self-reflection questions on a new page. Do you not have your sources consultant and then you mix it in the same page with your consulted sources as well as your self-assessment or reflection questions. So those ones that I've mentioned, you are going to put them on a separate page. I hope that makes sense. So I guess we're done with table of contents. So the assessment, self-assessment and self-reflection. Please, you need to take note of the heading presentations. Let me just remove this here so that I don't confuse you. So guys, remember, for table of contents, you might have, you might be given another assignment whereby just under here, under the memorandum, then comes 3.1. 3.1, this is your heading, right? We have headings, and then you have your subheading. Your subheading, it will be, let's say it's going to be letter to the minister. Letter to the minister. So you're gonna write it like this, in bold and lower cases, right? That is your subheading. That's how you're going to write it. You will not have a subheading and then you write it as if it's your main heading. So if you write it like this, it's wrong because it's saying to us, this is a new topic, but this falls under the memorandum. So what tells us that this falls under the memorandum? It's this numbering, right? But then if you leave it as number 4, it will say to us, the format is correct because this is another question. But then because we set the paper, we know that this has to fall under the memorandum question. Then your whole table of contents would have been ruined, right? And then, yes, here we are. First level headings are in capital letters and bold, right? So that is what I was talking about. This is your first heading. And then second level headings, which is your 3.1. It's in lowercase and in bold, right? And then your third level headings, which is going to be 3.1.1 or 1.1.1, it has to be third level headings, which is in lowercase. It is bold and italic. That is how you differentiate between the headings that you have, right? I think we're all clear on that. If there's anybody who's not clear on that, can I please get a show of hand? Yes, Tambi, so you can unmute yourself. Please unmute yourself. Stembizo. Stembizo, please unmute yourself. I just allowed it. I don't know why. Allow Mike. Unmute yourself now. Yes,
I
Stembizo.
wanted to know how we make them the other the lowercase and the second lowercase letters. How do we make them like that
Okay.
in the document?
Okay. So this is your subheading, right? This is your second heading, which is letter to the mayor. It's in bold and it's in small letters. If this is your third heading, then it will be 3.1.1. And then you just highlight all of this, right? And then you go here. This is italic. Next to bold, it's the I stands for italic. You press on it and then it's in italic. Are you sorted now? Tembiso? Okay, thank you. Hlati, I think your hand was up before Erasmus. Are you sorted or you would like to say something? Okay, we move on. Erasmus, oh, I'm so sorry, so sorry, so sorry. Yes. Please come in. Erasmus, please unmute yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
No, it's fine.
I'm a bit confused. I understand the first how do you say, first level heading, that is your capital letters. But what is headings should be first level numbered? What does that mean?
To say first level numbered, it means that they need to be in your uppercase, and then they also need to be bold to show that this is the main heading of the question that you're going to be tackling.
Is it okay? All right, okay, then it's fine. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, and then we move. So we're done with first headings and so forth. Introduction. We also had a bit of a struggle here. We had a bit of a struggle. So with this one, what happened was that I don't know if students, if you missed the part where it said that you need to also give an introduction or just an overall of what it means, what business communication is all about, right? So it says that students have to include an overall assignment introduction before they start to answer the individual assignment questions. You are not required to provide a separate introduction for each individual assignment question, unless expressly stated, such as the essay, for example. Ideally, the introduction should introduce the subject of business communication and the assignment as a whole and allude to the concept or topic of the individual assignment questions. One paragraph of writing would have been sufficient, right? Writing has to be presented in a formal tone. We academics here were building towards academia, or we can say we're building professionals, you know? So you can't be writing as if you're chatting to me on WhatsApp. You need to be professional, you need to be academic. That is what we're teaching you here. So for your introduction, most of you did not do so well, because you would say, this assignment is about writing a memorandum for an application of a post. And I will also, immediately when you say you are now missing out on the formal tone, right? So what you had to do is you start off your introduction by giving us what you think business communication is. Simple. Business communication is learning about the language usage in a professional manner within different sectors. Full stop. And then you go on. In this assignment, we will be dealing with memorandum writing and an application for a job at the Tshwane municipality. The assignment will look into the 4 ethical aspects that are going to be used. That's it. You've given us a reason enough to look at your work, bearing in mind that you've introduced it so well. We already know what we're going to be seeing, the ethics, the 4 ethics. We're going to be seeing a memorandum. We're going to be seeing you applying for a post that is advertised under the Tshwane municipality and so forth. Introduction, it is where you introduce us, you give us an idea of what is it that you're going to be tackling within the assignment. What is this paper going to be about? That is an introduction. That is all that is needed. Conclusion, as I've said before, conclusion is just where you sum up all the main points that you've mentioned. And there's no better way for me to explain it, because this is just where you conclude that, you know, and you do not even need to go back and rewrite the introduction here. You do not even need to introduce anything new that you did not talk about in your assignment. So that is what a conclusion is about. If you write a good introduction, trust me, trust me, writing a conclusion will not be any problem because you will just link up all the main ideas that you've spoken about in the body of your conclusion. The conclusion, the introduction has to link up with the body. The conclusion has to link up with the body. Introduction, what you say in the introduction should show in your body. The ideas that you give in your introduction are ideas that we expect to see within your introduction. Ideas that are within your introduction, which is the body, will lead you to a good conclusion. So that is how the hierarchy goes. Introduction makes the body makes the conclusion. And then one thing also that most students did not do is the mind map, guys. Mind map. I mean, a mind map, it is just so simple. And I don't know if most of you didn't do it because probably you didn't have enough time or you started your assignment late. So you were just pushing to submit, which is not a good thing at all. So for your mind map, you read what your question 1 wanted, right? And then you take your mind map from there. I mean, question 1 wanted you to have a theory. Question 1 wanted you to have, it wanted you to talk about acids. So that is what you write in your mind map. A mind map, you just write your key points. You write your main ideas of how you're going to be tackling the question. And then we see that, we can see from that, okay, this is going to come up, this is going to come up. So it's similarly to what you wrote in your introduction based on question 1, not all the other questions. That is the mind map that we wanted from you. Please, 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 for assignment 6, do the mind map, put the mind map just before your question 1. So students had to provide an appropriate heading for their essay. Most students wrote their headings as question 1 or essay or question 1 essay. That is not how we wanted you to do it. We wanted you to come up. We wanted you to be creative, want you to be creative. Come up with a topic, a catchy topic, ethical challenges in the workplace, ethics within the workplace. Those are just some of the examples that I'm giving to you. The heading that had to be in the correct heading, which is the first level heading. First level heading, as we said, all the heading has to be in capital letters and it should be bold. So if you write your assignment and then the heading is ethical practices in the workplace, right? You need to highlight this. You need to make it in bold. You do not need to underline it. Nothing is to be underlined in your work, unless if you are writing with a pen and you're not typing, you underline to show that this is in italic. Underlining means that it's in italic, right? So you only do that if you're using a pen and then you're going to scan your work. But then if, guys, you're going to be typing out your work, you do not need to underline anything. Please stop underlining because you're making us confused. But we know that most students love doing that, so please don't do that. So the brainstorming and the planning, please, you need to do it. And this one, the nice thing about is that we didn't even give you any specific format or method. You just had to provide evidence of your brainstorming or planning in writing, that identifies the main ideas or concepts. And then that's it, right? And then the other thing, okay, this was the most challenging for most students. Specific instructions were given. Students had to reference 3 to 5 sources in text referencing, right? These 3 to 5 sources, you can use 3 sources. We've got plenty of material for CBC 1501. I don't think or even expect a student to say that I did not know how to use Google Scholar. I did not know how to source journals or whatever, because we have plenty. I mean, we've got lesson videos that we've given to you guys that you need to go through that help with everything. We've got tutorial letter 101, which is written beautifully to be understood by you. We've got 301. We have, I mean, a whole study guide, which has 11 chapters. You had to go through that. Then you've got your 3 to 5 sources. If you use 3 sources, you had to in-text reference them, right? And then once you've in-text referenced them, you need to know that the sources that you've in-text referenced also need to appear in the list of sources that you have consulted. The minimum sources that had to be included in the list of sources consulted, I've just mentioned them. It's your study guide tutorial letter 501. It is your study letter 301. Any other online resources. I mean, we even give links that you can just press on, and then it will just navigate you to the right material, and then you use that, right? For in-text referencing, guys, most of the students didn't do it. I do not know why. Probably they did not see how it's done on tutorial letter 301. Please, 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 for in-text referencing or even for sources of least consulted, you need to go back to your tutorial letter 301. Please do that. Now we move. Okay, I need to just stop sharing for now. Okay. So that's question 1. Once you've done all that I've asked you to do, the right table of contents, the right introduction, the correct body, then you're sorted. One other thing that I am going to really talk about now is that for your assignment 1, not for your assignment, for your question 1, right? You do not need to label the introduction as introduction, and then you write 5 letters, and then when you're done, you have a heading that is written body, and then you go into the body, and then you have the third heading that is written conclusion. You do not need to do that. Lucia, is that Lucia? Lucia, is that a mistake, or you would really want to say something? Please let me know. So you don't need to do that. Okay, please unmute yourself, Lucia, and then you can come in.
Okay, on one of the thing, I had a comment saying that it's not flowing logically. I'm having a challenge reworking that on question 1.
Okay, what was it that they felt is not flowing? What is it that you said? Is it on question 1?
On question 1, yes, the essay.
Okay. From the top of my head, let me just say this. I think when they said that it is not flowing logically, remember, if we are going to be, for instance, let me do this quickly so that I do not confuse you. 2 minutes, 2 minutes. Okay, cool. So remember that they said that you had to use 1 or 2 hypothetical organizations of your choice, right, Lucia? So and then let's say you're going to be choosing Fort Hare University. If you choose Fort Hare University, then you first, and then in your introduction, you're going to say that to showcase my knowledge of ethics, I will be looking into Fort Hare University on how they use power, and also how this power can cause harm. You've already stated 2 ethics there, right? And then you get to your that's your introduction. You're done with your introduction. Then you get to your first paragraph. First paragraph, then you will talk about how University of Fort Hare or Fort Hare University uses their power. You will write that in a paragraph. The second paragraph should be a build up from the first paragraph. So second paragraph, then you're going to say, it's just an example, by, and then you probably will say, Fort Hare University, it has been concluded that they abuse their power. And by abusing their power, this is the kind of harm that they're causing to their stakeholders internally and externally. And then you write. So it needs to flow. Do not have a point whereby your first paragraph, you're introducing the organization that you're talking about. And in the second paragraph, you talk about how they use power. And in the third paragraph, it goes to something else. And then the fourth paragraph, you go back to, you elaborate more on how they use power. So your ideas have to be built nicely and they need to flow in a nice sequence, right? So basically, I believe that is what the marker was basically saying to you. Are we sorted, Lucia?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. And then I'm going to share my screen again so that we can go through this one because it was also a problem. By show of hand, can somebody just tell me that my screen is showing? Erasmus, where are you? Show of hand. Can you see my screen? Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Okay. So the memorandum, the main problem that we had here was the header and the heading structures, right? So let's just quickly run to it. First and foremost, when you write a memorandum for any company, you will start with the name of the company. If you're writing a memorandum for University of Northwest should be here. And it should be in capital letters. It should be bold, right? That's the name of a company. And then after that, you can write memo. What does this basically means? It means that this memo is for Tshwane municipality. If you do not have a company name on top and you only have memo, then what are we supposed to build from this? What is this memo for? Who is this memo for, right? Most of you guys got this part correct, from, to, end date. However, I saw something that I didn't like. Okay, wait, we'll just go back to that. So from, you can write your name. You're the accountant. You can write your name or any hypothetical name, right? And then who is this memo for? This memo is for all the employees of Tshwane municipality, right? And then the date of the memo, the date that the memo was written, you write that. This is the subject, which is very important. Some did not include it, some included it. Thank you so much. You come up with a catchy and very formal subject. Irregular claims or guidelines for claims. Because after all, this memo was you giving them instructions on how to submit memos from now on because of what you saw, the loophole that was in the department or the loophole that was in the claim being submitted, right? Yeah. So you do that. You get a catchy subject and then you write it there. Once you've written irregular claims, you will go on. You will start your memo by firstly, and remember, when you do this, you need to do it in a very formal tone. You're an accountant, right? You have to do that. And you will start and you will show them where they went wrong when they used to claim, the implications that their wrong claims came with, And then at the end, you will just write that from now on, these are the guidelines that you need to follow in order for your claim to be approved when you are submitting a claim. And then you'll write it. Each and every claim should be, sorry about that. Each and every claim should be accompanied by a quotation from 3 different companies that are within our database, right? Each and every claim should, I don't know, each and every claim should come with a memo, a signed memo from the, let's say from the manager or whoever signs the memos, right? And then once you're done with writing the memo, at the end, you put your name, you are the accountant, and then you put a signature there. And then you're done. I mean, in a memo, the only thing that you need to really be taking care of is making sure that you address the memo to the right person. The memo you've written clearly where it comes from, the date of that the memo was written. The subject is most important because that is what gives employees, employers, it's what catches their attention. If you just submit a memo that is written Tshwane municipality memo, and then there is no subject, one can just archive it and say, this is not for me. But then if you come and say irregular claims, and I know that I'm responsible, I claim, I drive out for meetings, I need to claim for my petrol, you know, then I know that this is for me and this is important, so I need to read it. So on assignment 6, remember, write the name, right? Write the name in capital letters of the municipality, write memo in capital letters. Make sure that who it's from, it's clearly stated, who the memo is going to, it's clearly stated, the date that the memo was written, it's clearly, or sent, it's clearly stated. The subject of the memo, it's clearly stated. At the end, and then you're done, and then you get all the mark that you need to get. I'm going to be taking questions by show of hand. Anybody who needs more clarity, or if you need me to repeat something that I said, now is the time. Erasmus, you can come in. I'm not sure if I don't think I muted you.
Okay, thank you so much. I just quickly want to make sure, say for example, you write your memo. When the lecturer that's marking the script, say for example, where's that now? It should not include a complementary clause like a letter, which means that can you not say at the end of the memo, I just want to make sure that is the complementary clause. You are not supposed to say under the memo, thank you for your understanding in this matter. Regards.
No.
That regards is not supposed to be there, or the thank you for understanding.
Yes, it's not supposed to be there.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Any other person? Okay, Tati. Let me just see something. Please unmute yourself.
Can I?
Yes, you're audible. We can hear you.
Sorry, I was just distracted. I didn't get the part where Erasmus was mentioning the regards part. Are we not supposed to be annotating that?
You don't annotate that for your memo, but then you only annotate that for your business letter.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so I'm moving, right? Tati, you can lower your hand. Thank you so much. Okay, so we're done with that. Remember, guys, also What's important is that grammar should always be correct. Your spelling should be correct. And that's why I always say to you guys that please make sure that whenever you are done with your assignments, please make sure that you do go through them. Please make sure that you go through them, you read them to see if there is no spelling error that probably you need to work on. Or so always revise your work. Always revise your work, because in this module we also look at the grammar, right? We also look at grammar, your spelling. So minimize the spelling errors so that we do not have to give you few marks. And then also, if you've seen in the, I just hope that I'm going to be able to share with you now. Okay, yes. If you've seen, these are the 3 things that we look for when we mark your questions, right? So we look at your format and your layout. What is your format? What is your layout? The structure that I've just shown you, that is your format and your layout. We look at that. We look at your grammar and your language. We also look at the content. So those are the 3 things that we're looking for. Please excuse me, I just want to show you something quickly here. Yes. So Hlasi and Erasmus, you see here, where it says format. It says format and layout, header, heading structure, name of company, date, subject, recipient, alignment. You see there is no way you have to sign or anything. Guys, I'm going to give this tip again, and I'll always give it again and again. I will not get tired of it, because I can see that some are listening to it, some are not. We give you rubrics each and every time that you have to complete your work. The rubrics are the most important things that you need to look at before you start articulating your assignment. Why am I saying this? The rubrics that we give, they guide you on what is it that you need to do, you know? So, I mean, if you're going to be giving me a memorandum that does not have a header, that does not have name of the company, what does it say? It means that you've already lost out marks. But if you look at your rubric when you do your assignment, you know that, okay, for format and layout, I need to have a header. What is my header? I need to have a heading structures. What is heading structures? Heading structures is those capital letters and in bold. The name of the company needs to be there. It's written here. The date, the subject, the recipients, and the alignment. I've shown you what the alignment is. So you really need to look at that and see if, does my format have all of these things that are being mentioned on the rubric? If your assignment does not have, your format does not have the descriptions that have been written for you in the rubric, then it means that the format is wrong. It means that something is missing. Then it's your responsibility to quickly do it. So please, 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 one more time, rubric is extremely important for you to succeed. So the only penalization that we do, right, it's for format, layout, and the structure, which is this. Because this is most important. I mean, here we're not really teaching you anything else, but we're teaching you how to write a memorandum that is accepted by almost all departments or companies. This is what we're teaching you. So if your format and your layout is wrong, it means that you do not know how to do a memorandum. So you need to do this. That is why we penalize you for that. But also remember, we do not penalize you anything more than 2 marks. If we penalize you, it will be either 6.5, 0.5, 1, or 1.5 or 2. That is the maximum. We don't go above 2. Okay, I think we've got 4 minutes, but then I'm going to end. I think I'm going to end the session once we're done. So please bear with me. Okay, so this is fine. Okay, this is fine. So we move on to our last question. There's something important that I also wanted to say, but I'll just remember it. I'll remember it as we go along. So question 3. Question 3 was your business letter, right? And then I'm so glad that everybody read this, that you do not need to include your CV and copies of degrees, right? So once again, we have the rubric. Rubric says format and layout, UK block format, addresses, not address, addresses, meaning it's more than one, right? The date, the alignment, the subject, salutation, complimentary close, sign off. That is, if you have all of that, then your format and layout is correct, right? And then grammar and language is always the same thing that we're looking for. Are you using your punctuation marks correctly? Is it a formal tone? Does your paragraph flow, the paragraph structure, the fluency that you use, the alignment as well, it's the alignment falls under format. So here it says the content of the letter, right? The opening and the context, the descriptions of the purpose of the letter and why you're a suitable candidate. Descriptions of the purpose of the letter. Why are you writing this letter? It needs to be clear, right? That's why you need to have a subject. Okay. So let me just move on to the template. So here we go. Most students only wrote this. Most students only went ahead and wrote this for Mr. Ntulu. They did not put in their addresses. So you need to put in your address, and your address has to be live, right aligned, right? You need to do that. You need to check for the accuracy of formatting as well and the address structure. You can't start your address with your postal code area. It has never been done and it will never be done. So you need to start with your name, and then you go on the street number, the area that you're in, the city that you're in, and the postal code or the area code of the place that you're in, right? And then from there, you skip a line. And then you write the date that the letter is written, right? Then you skip a date, then you skip a line again, and then you write the recipient's address, which is going to be left aligned, right? After that, then you will have dear Mr. Kolani Nduli, or dear Sir, or dear Mr. Nduli, and it should be followed by a comma. The right usage of punctuation mark says a lot about you, and it says a lot that you've been reading. You've been reading all the material that we've set out for you. A comma needs to be there, guys. Not a full stop, not an exclamation mark. Only a comma is supposed to be there. And then comes letter of motivation, job application, accountant position. This is the subject. When Mr. Ntuli gets this letter, he already knows what the letter is about. As I've said, the subject in a letter, in a memorandum, in an email, it is utmost important because it tells the receiver what this email / memo / letter is going to be about. Remember, we all practicing professionalism. The first paragraph, it should be you introducing yourself and saying why you're writing. What is the reason for this letter? So you're going to say your name. I am Carol, a fresh accounting graduate from the University of South Africa. And then you say, I have obtained my degree in accounting studies with a cum laude in 2013 or whatever. And then you go. You write whatever that you want to write there, but you make sure that you're introducing yourself correctly. And you don't introduce yourself by saying, my name is Carol and I'm from Pretoria. I have 2 kids. No, that's not what you do. You have to be professional. You have to write everything that is in alignment with the position, right? My communication refers to the job advertisement posted on Sunday Times or Sunday World on the 25th of June, 2023, right? And then your conclusion part, I have outlined my extensive skills and experiences above, and I am optimistic that my application will be considered for this position. You use any words that you want to use for as long as they make sense. And then you're done with it. An application letter does not have to be very long. Each paragraph, 2 to 3 sentences. If we round it off, then because you've got 3 paragraphs, it means that you have 3, 6, 9 sentences or 12 sentences. Thank you for your consideration. I look forward to hearing your response. Yours sincerely, comma, very important, punctuation mark, and then you sign however you want to sign. If you want to sign like Miss Sata, you can just put in your initials and your surname, and then below that you write your full names and your surname. Are we still together up to so far? Questions, comments, anything? Okay. I'm happy when you're happy, Stembi. So I was actually waiting for you. I thought your hand will be up. Then it means that I'm really doing a good job. So thank you so much, Erasmus. So basically, guys, that's it. And then when you're done with this, many of you did not. Let me just scroll down. Many of you guys, what you did was, okay, we're gonna go to this one. Many of you guys, what you did was that after the first question, and then you had a list of sources there. I don't know where you got that method from. I'm still puzzled myself, and I'm still asking myself, where have you ever seen that happening? I think in the beginning of this assignment, there is where we show you how we need you to pack your work so that it can flow, right? There's where we said that, so you need to follow that. Your sources consulted should be after you've written the first, the second, and the third question. You do not insert it after the first question. Let's just please make sure we do that. So for your mark allocation for the self-assessment and self-reflection, alignment, numbering, and heading, right? Spelling and articulation, tense, punctuation. So this is what you just had to do once you're done with your work. Once you've done with your conclusion, and then we get to your self-assessment. So what have you learned? What knowledge have you gained by doing this assignment? You don't rewrite the question for us. You just number it correctly. So your heading will be self-assessment and self-reflection questions. And then you say number 1, and then you answer. I have learned the format and the layout of writing a memo and a business letter, and the importance of what? Of alignment. I didn't know what to say, but yeah, the importance of alignment. And then full stop, punctuation mark. Number 2, what skills, abilities, and orientations have you required? You go to number 3, which strengths could you apply in your future life and work environments? Which shortcomings do you need to work on in the future? To what extent have you achieved the learning outcomes formulated for this module, right? And then you just do that. And then you get your free marks. It's not really free, but yeah, you get your free marks, right? So that's basically what you had to do. And then here is an important part. It says that the self-assessment and self-reflection questions were not based on any module content, theory, or the application thereof. Therefore, there are no right or wrong answers, right? The aim of this session was merely to provide students with an opportunity to reflect in a focused manner on their journey in this module thus far. If they answered the questions in full sentences, they should receive these marks. marks. Students were required to answer what the questions asked. For example, in question 5, they had to refer to the learning outcomes of the module. That's why I said it's 3 marks, because there's no wrong or right answers. I mean, this is basically based on your knowledge, what you've learned, and I can't say that you did not learn that. So, my dear students, we have come to the end of this class. Now I am expecting 100% pass rate for assignment 6. Do not let me down. If there is no questions, comments, I would like to end the class.